So imagine getting a casting call, professional materials, a real director attached, travel paid up front. You're a struggling actor, you need the work. You fly to Bangkok, get in a car and drive 4 hours north. Then armed men force you across a river. That's when you realize you're not in Thailand anymore. Welcome to Sea Daily Buzz. Today we're going inside Southeast Asia's scam compound industry, a $64 billion criminal machine built on forced labor, torture, and fraud on an industrial scale. Coming up, a Chinese actor's 4-day ordeal that shook 2 governments. A Myanmar scam compound exposed by journalists walking through live mortar fire. 4 criminal dynasties who built a $14 billion a year empire and paid with their lives. And the man behind Cambodia's criminal network, whose arrest triggered the largest crypto seizure in US legal history. Wang Xing is not a famous actor. He's 31, Shanghai-based, earning the equivalent of about $29 on a good working day. Exactly the kind of person scammers look for. In December 2024, Wang received a casting call from what appeared to be Grammy, Thailand's biggest entertainment company. The fake materials were so convincing that a fellow actor who reviewed them said they looked like a project with investment of millions of yuan. Scammers had used a real Thai director's name. That director only exposed the scam when another actor DM'd him on Instagram. His reply, "Not me, please protect yourself." Wang didn't know. On January 2, 2025, he flew from Shanghai to Bangkok. His girlfriend Jia tracked his location the whole way. A car picked him up and drove 480 kilometers north to the Thai-Myanmar border. At 11 in the morning on January 3rd, his messages stopped. He'd been transferred to a pickup truck, smuggled across the Moe River, and taken to Apollo Park, a scam compound in Myawaddy, Myanmar. His head was shaved on arrival. For the next several days, he was forced to practice typing fraud scripts, trained to deceive other Chinese people. Jia reported to Shanghai police immediately. They told her, no jurisdiction abroad. The embassy needed confirmation he was still in Thailand. His brother tried 2 police stations and was told it could take a month to open a case. So, Jia posted on Weibo, "We have no option but to utilize the internet to amplify our voices." The post exploded. Celebrities including singer Lei Zhang amplified it to hundreds of millions of people. The pressure worked. On January 7th, just 4 days after he vanished, Wang crossed back at the Thai-Myanmar Friendship Bridge. Head shaved, white shirt, shorts. Prompted by Thai officials concerned about tourism, he told cameras that Thailand is very safe. But the rescue exposed something bigger. A spreadsheet for families of others still trapped started at 174 names. Within days, over 1,200. One viral comment put it bluntly, "You can't just save him because he's famous, right?" According to the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, the crackdown that followed was largely theater. The compound switched to diesel generators and Starlink. 6 months later, a 25-year-old model was trafficked to Myawaddy the exact same way. A few weeks after the Wang Xing case, Karen National Liberation Army fighters overran a compound called Shunda Park, 16 kilometers south of Myawaddy. It had been protected by the junta-aligned Democratic Karen Benevolent Army, sanctioned by U.S. Treasury the week prior for direct ties to Chinese crime bosses. Over 3,500 workers from nearly 30 countries were found inside. The New York Times arrived in December. Journalist Hannah Beach described a scene like an apocalyptic film set. Bonfires burning thousands of phones, SIM cards crunching underfoot like snow in the tropical heat, a French bulldog near an abandoned Bentley, rotting food on tables where managers had fled mid-meal. The scam floors had rows of computer screens and motivational wall slogans. Chase your dreams. Earning money is paramount. Every workroom held a golden altar to the Chinese god of wealth and a large drum. Hit $5,000 in scams, you rang a gong. Hit $50,000, you beat the drum. Right next to the altar, in plain sight, 3 punishment boxes. Behind the barbecue restaurant, cement torture cells with bars and restraints. Workers who missed quotas were beaten with bamboo staffs, electrocuted, or starved in basement rooms. Timothy, 27 from Uganda, overslept 30 minutes on his first day. 2 weeks in solitary, 1 bottle of water a day, daily beatings. His words, "That was the last time I saw freedom." Ivan, a Malaysian former airport worker, was chained in a crucifix position, starved and beaten with staffs and tasers. He said, "You think you've experienced hell, but it's even worse than you can imagine." Most workers had been recruited through fake job ads on Instagram and Facebook, lured to Thailand, then forced across the river at gunpoint. A KNU spokesperson held up a notebook found inside. Scripts for defrauding middle-aged women in Taiwan, including the reminder to share breakfast photos and to know that Starbucks serves a variety of coffees. After liberation, no foreign government sent investigators. Just across the road, new scam centers were already being built. For years, the true engine of this industry sat 600 kilometers northeast of the Thai border, in a city called Lao Cai. The UN called it the engine room of the scamdemic. At its peak, it reportedly generated over $14 billion a year. 4 criminal dynasties ran it: the Bai, Wei, Lu, and Ming families. The power split was deliberate. Wei wielded military force. Lu managed finances. Bai played politics. Ming controlled the local police, officers wearing official Myanmar uniforms who answered to one man. Together they operated over 100 scam compounds with reportedly 100,000 people inside at peak. They held parliamentary seats. They personally received honorary titles from Myanmar's coup leader, Min Aung Hlaing. The military didn't just tolerate them, it protected them. The conditions inside were documented in Chinese court proceedings. Survivor Liao testified. In the dark, 7 or 8 people came at me at once. They used PVC pipes and clubs, pulling my fingernails with pliers. Then they severed 2 of my fingers with a kitchen knife. Survivor Ju was told upon arrival that if he couldn't deliver results, he'd be sold off or buried alive. The tipping point came in October 2023, when guards at the Ming family's Crouching Tiger Villa opened fire on workers trying to escape. Several were killed, reportedly including undercover Chinese police. Beijing was done waiting. China backed a rebel offensive that swept through Kokang. The patriarchs were extradited. Then came the reckoning. In September 2025, 11 Ming members were sentenced to death, $1.4 billion in fraud, 14 Chinese citizens killed. In November, 5 Bai members followed, $4.2 billion, 11 tons of methamphetamine, 6 murders. By February 2026, 15 executions had been carried out. Harvard researcher Jacob Sims put it simply: this is the first time China has put Myanmar-based scam bosses to death. The scam industry hasn't disappeared, it's just moved south. South means Cambodia, where a man named Chen Ji had spent a decade building what US authorities would later call one of Asia's largest transnational criminal organizations. Chen Ji reportedly fled China around 2009. In Cambodia, he built everything: citizenship, passports from Cyprus, St. Lucia, and Vanuatu, and a minister-level advisory role to 2 prime ministers. He donated $18 million to the Cambodian government, founded Cambodia Airways, and owned a Picasso, a London mansion, and a super yacht. To the outside world, a philanthropist. Underneath, at least 10 forced labor scam compounds across Cambodia, reportedly generating $30 million a day at peak. Workers held behind barbed wire, beaten, trafficked. According to the DOJ indictment, Chen Ji allegedly messaged subordinates that workers causing trouble should be beaten, but not, quote, beaten to death. In October 2025, the DOJ unsealed a Brooklyn indictment: wire fraud, money laundering, maximum 40 years. And on the same day came the announcement that shook the crypto world: 127,271 Bitcoin seized, approximately $15 billion, the largest forfeiture in the history of the Department of Justice. Coordinated US and UK sanctions targeted 146 individuals and businesses. The UK froze a £100 million City of London office block, 2 mansions, and a helicopter. On January 6, 2026, Chen Ji was arrested in Cambodia by authorities acting on a Chinese request and extradited to Beijing. Hooded, handcuffed. Footage aired on Chinese state television. Cambodia has no extradition treaty with the United States. The $15 billion remains contested. The DOJ rejected victim restitution claims, arguing transfers were made voluntarily. Attorneys warned the funds could end up in the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. As of March 2026, the case is unresolved. Here's the scope of the full picture. According to a February 2026 UN report titled "A Wicked Problem," at least 300,000 people are currently working in scam compounds across Southeast Asia, trafficked from 66 countries. The industry generates an estimated $64 billion a year globally, and it is still expanding into West Africa, the Pacific Islands, Latin America, and beyond. Every crackdown has been met with relocation. Every raid has been called performative by investigators on the ground. The machine keeps running. Somewhere right now, a scammer is sending out thousands of messages, waiting for someone to reply. Don't be that someone. We drop new episodes every week right here on C Daily Buzz.